best way that I can describe Last Christmas is a cross between Love Actually and Bridget Jones's Diary. If Paul Feig is going to direct a film written by Emma Thompson, I'm going to watch it. Now, ordinarily Last Christmas isn't the kind of film that I would go and see. It felt from the advertising that it would be quite a Christmas rom-com. I'm not really into rom-coms, despite the fact that for about 10 years rom-coms was the rom-com was my favourite genre. But I had to see this because Paul Feig is my favourite comedy director and Emma Thompson is just one of my favourite humans. And I'm honestly very glad that I did. Okay, so narrative. Emilia Clarke plays a woman called Kate who's very much down on her luck. She works at a little shop that sells Christmas decorations and little Christmassy toy things, and things are not going her way. And then she meets a man called Tom, and they have a kind of mini adventure as they get to know each other while Kate's life kind of falls apart while she also tries to build it back up. It's a pretty standard narrative, especially for a kind of Christmas film where it's all about being thankful for what you have and realising that people's lives aren't in perfect condition. There's a lot of involvement with homeless people, which actually brings some of the more comedic elements, which I wasn't expecting, and it's very, very tastefully and very well done. The whole girl meets boy thing is kind of typical, but there is something in this film, and I shan't spoil it because I didn't know it was going to happen, and when it happened my mind just exploded. And apparently it's this element that actually made Paul Feig kind of say yes to directing this film. But for the most part, for 90% of the film, it's very traditional. I kind of feel like not a lot happens, and yet time goes by really quickly. So it's definitely more of a character-driven film than it is a narrative-driven film. All of the characters are very likeable. We have quite a complex range of characters. No two characters are carbon copies of each other, which actually, when we're dealing with this kind of festive rom-com, is quite rare. Emma Thompson is brilliant in it. There's not really actually a lot of Christmas. There's just enough Christmas to make it a Christmas film. For example, she works in a Christmas shop, and there are a couple of Christmas songs, mainly Last Christmas. But there's no, like, extensive scenes of people wrapping presents by the fire, or I don't think anybody was decorating a Christmas tree or sipping eggnog. It's not over the top, it's just the right amount to make it magical without making it quite nauseating. So it is pretty much 90% funny with 10% seriousness and a bit of a twist, and it's just, the balance is perfect. It really is gorgeous. It's kind of a popcorn film until that moment comes along, and then it's an interesting journey, and you have to watch it to really get what I'm saying and to feel what I'm feeling, because well, the way it's done, the way it's directed is incredible, the way it's written. If you ever need an example of what makes Emma Thompson and Greg Wise a great team, first of all, but also Emma Thompson an amazing storyteller, is this film. Is it worth it? Absolutely. Yes, if you love Christmas films, but as I said, it's not overly Christmassy, so I think you can watch it at any time of the year without feeling like you're peaking too early. Character development was great, and the narrative, it's very odd because, as I said, it's character driven, but because of that element of the narrative that was surprising, the narrative is what sets this apart from everything else, and that's a very odd dichotomy of what I've just said. It's kind of contradictory. It's absolutely incredible. It's one of those films that really has to be seen to be believed.